Croc here from Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to sharpen the chain on this chainsaw. Now, I've actually never sharpened a chain before. I've always been kind of an occasional chainsaw user, and when a chain got dull, I would just buy a new one. But if you're going to be cutting wood on a regular basis, you really need to look at ways to save a little bit of money on that. I've got a new chain here. This is a $25 chain. And I know there's cheaper brands out there, but a lot of times you also get what you pay for. And so sharpening a chain and doing it well is a skill that takes a certain level of expertise. But everything I've seen shows that using this Stihl sharpener makes it kind of idiot proof. But I may be just the idiot that they didn't count on when they designed this. And so we're going to find out if someone who's never sharpened a chain can actually do a good job sharpening a chain. And so to do that, I'm going to cut through this log with the chain that's already on there. So I know that the chain that's on here is pretty dull. I was grinding out a stump a couple of weeks ago, and I decided to cut one of them off first. And it was like a 3-foot diameter stump. And I got about 75–80% of the way cutting through it, and the chain got dull and was starting to get hot. So I stopped and I tried to find another chain and couldn't find one, and I didn't want to try to sharpen it in the middle of the job because I wanted to get that stump out before it got dark. So I went ahead and used the chain that was pretty dull, and I know this chain is in pretty rough shape. I think when I was done, I might have even hit it on the ground a little bit. So I'm going to try cutting through this and see how bad it is. Then we're going to sharpen it and try again. Then we're going to put a brand new chain on and do a comparison of how long it takes to cut through this. Now, I just realized that this is wider than the length of my bar, so I'll actually have to cut from one side and then go around to the other. But I still thought mostly everything I had was either too big like this, or it was so small it didn't feel like it'd be a good test. So let's get started. Alright, so I got the saw started and got it warmed up. About ready to cut through this. Got everything back at the workbench, ready to sharpen it when I'm done. And I just saw my tractor wall calendar. Thought I had to show you this one. So if anyone wants to go in the comments and tell me if they think I should get one of these, maybe enough comments will talk my wife into it. So let me know what you think. Be able to get it to roll back. Maybe it'll roll back, or is it going to fall out? This chain is completely trashed at this point, and it took long enough to saw through this the first time that I'm not even going to show it all. But I did want to show part of it, and I did want to cut through a log all the way just to demonstrate the starting point of the condition the chain was in. Alright, so I mentioned that chain was beyond dull. It's gone. It may even be to the point that it won't sharpen well. Probably a lot of the people watching know more about this than I do, but I'm going to give you just kind of the basics in case you're coming across this because you're trying to learn how to use this tool. So there are 3 things you want to sharpen on a chain. So 2 of them are on the actual tooth. You've got the underside and then the side profile of the actual tooth. And then you have these breaks. I'm not sure what the correct term for that is, but it's like a rake that sets the cutting depth. So if you grind this down more than you grind the tooth, you're going to remove too much material per pass. If you don't grind it at all, you're not going to remove enough material. So really, you need to grind this the same amount that you grind the actual cutting tooth. And that's kind of where this tool really shines, because it grinds all 3 areas the same amount at the same time. So all you're really doing is turning it where this plastic piece is parallel to the bar, fitting the round file down inside the tooth, and then passing it across about 3 to 5 times per tooth, depending on how dull it is. This chain is really dull, so I'll probably go 5 times. I haven't seen anyone really mention this, but it seems to me like you would need to mark your starting point. I thought about finding the master link and marking it from there, but I'm not seeing a master link. So I'm going to go find a marker or something and put a mark on where I start. And so once you do one direction like this, then you're going to flip the tool around and go the other way, because every other set of teeth is facing the opposite direction. So, alright, let's get started and see how it goes. See if we can tell the difference. This is one of those moments in life where it's good to have a sense of humor and laugh at yourself, because I'm thinking about what I'm going to say on the video and what I'm doing here, and I marked a spot right here so I'd know where I started, and then I started back here. So good thing I marked it. I guess I'll mark it again and know that it's the one that's further that way. Okay. Part of the reason this confused me at first was understanding that this needs to be parallel to the bar. And then even after I figured that out, I was still a little bit confused, because you've got this piece of square stock right here, and it sets on top of a tooth here. And it seemed to me like it wasn't going down in there because that was setting on top. But that's what sets the height that you're grinding. It's the fact that this round file is down in the tooth and this one is setting on this tooth here is what establishes your height. So I continued that process all the way around the chain. Then I turned the chainsaw around in the vise. It's probably not necessary, but
it just seemed more natural to me, and started the exact same process, going around the chain for the teeth that face in the opposite direction.
Doing it?
Yeah, it's definitely sharp.
Good. I basically overheated this chain trying to force it through after it was dull, but we'll see if it's salvageable or not. Alright, here we go. I'm going to start a new pass through. Alright, so that chain, when I started, was trash, and it took 3 minutes to cut through this log. Now, granted, this is a log that's wider than the bar by quite a bit, and this is kind of a homeowner's saw. It's like an entry level for the Stihl saws. It's a MS 250, but it took me almost 3 minutes to cut through it the first time, and the second time was 1 minute and 10 seconds. And so I've never even tried to sharpen a chain before, and just by watching a couple videos like the one I'm making now, I was able to learn enough to sharpen that, and it cut through this in 1/3 of the time. Now, for a reference point, I'm going to take a brand new chain, cut through the same spot, and see how long that takes. I'm going to guess 45 seconds. If you want, put a guess in the comments before you watch the rest of this, how long you think it'll take to do the same cut with the new chain. So, I'll get that switched out and we'll be right back.
No matter how the results of the new chain come out, I find it impressive that someone with no experience could use that 2-in-1 sharpening tool and get that result on their first try.
That's got kind of a neat pattern on the bark. You can see it's got 2 hearts. And I don't know if it's because it's wet or what, but the coloration is really neat. Anyway, that one took 1:03 seconds. The last one took 1:10. So from 3 minutes to 1:10 to 1:07 tells you that the sharpened chain that I just did was almost as fast as the new chain. You might kind of subtract a few seconds off of the time for the new chain because each piece we cut, actually this gets wider on this side. And still, overall though, I think it shows that that Stihl 2-in-1 sharpener is really a great tool that you don't need to be experienced to use. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. In a minute you'll see links to a couple more of our videos on the screen right here, and I'll see you next time.